Hi, I'm Allison. Today I'll be talking about mating and mollusks. So they have a very interesting but weird way of mating. It's through sexual reproduction, but it's not how you think with like our reproduction system and mammals and other animals. It's very peculiar in my opinion. So today I'll be talking about the Helix pomatia, and this is just a land snail. And its common name is either Roman snail or Burgundy snail. It's obviously in the phylum Mollusca, and some of the characteristics that put it in this phylum is that it has an outer shell that protects its inner soft body. So its shell is usually a dark brown color or a tan color, and same with their body. And that's because their habitats, they usually live on logs or roots and stuff like that, so they can blend in. And it's usually spiraled. It has a muscular foot for locomotion, so it'll just suction onto the root or whatever it's moving on, and that helps it move along. And an interesting thing is most mollusks either have either a muscular foot or tentacles, and sometimes they'll have both, and that's how it is in this case because the snail has tentacles also. It has two pairs. The upper ones right here contain the eyes, and the lower ones are down here, and they contain smell sensors, and they use these actually during mating to find a mate, so those are useful. And then it also has a single lung. And just a random fun fact that I found while I was researching these snails is that it's commonly known as escargot, which is a very popular food for many people around the world. I've never tried it, but I know many people who have. So what's so interesting about their reproduction? So they are actually hermaphrodites, which means they have both male and female reproductive parts. So they can carry both sperm and eggs. And with both type of gonads, they are able to self-fertilate. So that's not that common, but they are able to do that if they choose to do so. So after the eggs have been fertilized, the snails will lay their eggs instead of just like carrying them inside or whatever. And then right before mating, they will shoot each other. When they're like meeting up, they will shoot each other with a love dart, and that stimulates mating, so it increases their reproductive hormones and it helps give them a better chance of fertilizing. And then as you can see here on this figure, it has a dart sac, so that is where the love dart is shot into, so that, like I said, just increases their reproductive hormones. And then another interesting thing is that they have a genital pore, and it's on the side of their head. So when you think about like reproductive area, you don't usually go to someone's head or neck or whatever and think, oh, that's where it's at. But on these snails, their genital pore is actually right here beside their eyes. So on us, it would be like our neck on our right side. Another interesting thing is that they use a spermatophore, and that just holds the sperm inside until they're ready to reproduce. So the function, the egg and sperm are brought together by internal fertilization, and that includes or involves copulation, which copulation is just another term for intercourse. So they do have internal fertilization. It goes into an area that has eggs and sperm. I'll talk about it in just a minute. But after fertilization, the egg is passed down through the body, and it usually has a mucus layer or lining on the outside, and the snail uses the mucus layer for food as the egg is passed through the body. So, and then as the egg is done fertilizing and everything, it's ready to lay. They usually lay their eggs in a damp area, and sometimes they will dig a hole into the ground and lay their eggs there. So if you go to like a wooded area during mating season for snails, you can usually turn over a log, and their eggs look little white beads, and they're creamy white. So you can usually see those on the logs during mating season, and they're so small, they're tiny. And a snail can lay just one egg at a time, or they can lay up to dozens. It really just depends on the fertilization of the egg and mating season and the environment. All kinds of different factors go into that. But how they work together, so as you can see here in this picture, it looks a little weird, but they actually wrap their necks around each other so that they can do the reproductive process. Like I said, their reproductive area is not in a different area, it's in their neck, so they have to like reach around to do fertilization. So the sperm is inside the spermatophore, like I said, and it's inserted into a common opening called an atrium. And it's common because since they're hermaphrodites, they have both eggs and sperm, so the eggs and sperm just reside in the same area in the snail. So that's the common opening. Like I said, this area is usually behind the right eye tentacle. So here's the tentacles right here, the eye ones, and here is the right side. So it has an opening right there. And then once the spermatophore is inside the receiving animal, it will release the sperm, and then that is where it meets the eggs in a fertilization chamber, and that's where the genetic material is combined to make the egg. And then, like I said, it travels down, and when it's laid, the parents are no longer there to give it care, so it kind of just depends on itself after that. But, and then these are my references. Thanks.